I've been buried under years of dust. These words, by a friend, encapsulate how it feels to be a disabled person suddenly granted the privilege of visibility thanks to accessible disability services. These are rights, yet society dictates that some people are more right to receive them than others. Intersectionality asks us to acknowledge how our identities are plural and how these pluralities overlap in ways that both advantage and disadvantage us. Being mindful of the power dynamic this creates enables us to address the way in which our privilege might express as oppression and how our oppression might be challenged. Today, I'm going to get you acquainted with my intersectionality. Firstly, I'm going to familiarize you with my co-cultures, and secondly, I'm going to demonstrate how the interplay of these co-cultures privilege and oppress me. So, what are my co-cultures? Well, I identify as a middle-class, bilingual Latina with nonverbal autism who uses an iPad to communicate. Let's start by addressing how these co-cultures create structures of oppression for me. As someone with nonverbal autism, I'm continually forced to think of this as my only identity because I live with the challenges that it presents every day, and often this is the only way that people perceive me. Before I had access to communication, this misconception really impacted my education. I remember being taught very little at school and being frustrated that I couldn't tell my teachers that I was crying out to be challenged. I simply had no way of articulating it. Even with the privilege of communication to express myself, I sometimes have difficulty organizing my body and often do not feel welcome and normal in the usual places, even though I'm a person who longs to belong. And what is belonging if, as a disabled Latina, I cannot take a job with an affirmative action employer without people thinking that I got it because of my race or disability and not my merits? Despite these disadvantages, I consider myself very privileged. As someone from a middle-class family, not only will my family and I be able to live in a desirable area with green space and good air, but we will have the economic means to ensure that I have the best possible services to support my disability. Furthermore, as a bilingual Latina who was born in the United States, I never have to worry about the threat of deportation or having my services challenged because of my legal status. And my family is English speaking, so we never have to request interpreters or advocates to help us navigate the system. I became aware of this at a recent conference. A mother with an autistic son got emotional while speaking through an interpreter. She said that as a Spanish speaker, getting services for her son was difficult. I never thought about this because my family had the advantage of English fluency. After the lady finished speaking, my mom went to talk to her and offer her support. I was proud of my mom for recognizing her privilege and letting that understanding become a tool for support, not oppression. And for myself, I think this was a reminder that everyone needs and deserves a voice. Finally, I have the privilege of living in California, one of the most progressive states for disability rights and services. If I'd been born in another state, I might have fewer rights and opportunities. Today, I familiarized you with my co-cultures, and I demonstrated how the interplay of these co-cultures confers both disadvantages and advantages upon me. As a person with a disability, I experience the ableist oppression that society often subconsciously places upon me, and I struggle for the right kind of visibility, that is, visibility with dignity. However, I'm aware that I have privileges that protect me from other forms of oppression experienced by members of my community. For those who are still buried under years of dust, I want to use this awareness to blow this dust away.